Chuck, my big problem is, and I went off about this to open up the show, is that everything we're presented anymore, at least initial narratives wise, it's always false. Coronavirus is not going to murder 2 million Americans. We don't have to shut down an economy for it. Cops are not hunting down black men for the color of their skin in the United States of America. There's no statistical evidence to point to that whatsoever. There's no truth to that. There wasn't a violent insurrection attempt to take over the government on the 6th. It was a terrible incident. 5 people loosely associated with it kind of died. They didn't storm in and murder people. There's no evidence for that. Even that officer whose death they tried to use, there's no evidence for any kind of murder or anything like that. But we on the right, so many on the right, go with the false narrative right away to be what, Chuck? To be accepted? Patted on the back, to look compassionate? Why do we fall for this so often?
I think a lot of it, Jesse, has to do with the control of information. The information is tightly controlled initially. The truth gradually trickles out, and to the extent that it does, it often is suppressed or only gets picked up by alternative news sources. And so it takes a while. For example, this CNN story, I called it out yesterday morning in my Daily Caller article. It's still up. It hasn't been changed. There's nothing in it that has been updated or new. I checked just an hour ago, and it's still up. It has false information. And by the way, Jesse, this information is being used by the new Secretary of Defense, Austin, to justify this military-wide stand down to engage in what, struggle sessions? I can imagine it now. I mean, I've been through, and I'm sure you have as well, during the Clinton era, where you had these mass gatherings, these guilt by association meetings where the entire unit had to get together and were basically told that they were all terrible. In this context, I can imagine someone saying, look to your right, look to your left. There's a 50% chance that the person sitting next to you is an extremist. And we have to deal with it. It's like, no, that's not good for morale and retention and recruiting and good order and discipline. The way you solve this problem is the way you always solve these problems. You get with the non-commissioned officers and the officers and you say, look, it is injurious to good order and discipline and to morale if you have knuckleheads that are in your ranks that have problems with your fellow soldiers or sailors or airmen because of their race or ethnicity or anything else that makes them different other than their desire to serve America by swearing an oath to the Constitution that might lead to the death of that enlistee. And you empower your leadership to lead by example and to inspire their troops and to say that, look, sexual harassment or any sort of bigotry against your fellow soldiers is unacceptable. And you will first be counseled if you're caught doing it. And if you don't get the memo, we're gonna kick you out. We're gonna potentially do court-martial proceedings against you. But you don't do it through these mass meetings.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.